everybody, and welcome to our monthly health and safety meeting. So there's a few new people on the ground, so I'll just introduce myself. I'm Kat, and I am the health and safety representative for this department. So essentially what that means is you can come speak to me about any health and safety concerns, but it's my job to convey any changes in policies and just have that safety discussion with you guys. So if you have any concerns or anything, feel free to reach out, but I'll try my best to keep you guys updated with what's happening in the health and safety space and just educate you a little bit more so you can understand the whole process. So we'll get started today. If you have any questions along the way, just give me a shout and we can address them as they come up. So today I just thought I would give you a bit more information on what your responsibilities as a worker is within the workplace and the health and safety space. So essentially we all have responsibilities, whether you're a worker, whether you're a supervisor, whether you're upper management, CEO of the company. So those responsibilities look slightly different depending on your level, but we'll just go through the workers one today so you guys can understand a bit of that. So as a worker, we all have a safety responsibility, and essentially follow the rules and you have it covered. So that's knowing the procedures and how they work, where the procedures are located, where you can find them, making sure you use the PPE that's provided to you by the company, and just reporting, having a good reporting culture. So reporting any concerns, reporting, because at the end of the day you could be that person that stops somebody else getting injured, stops another death, which nobody wants to get hurt or injured while we're working. So if we keep up that good work, that basically covers your legislative requirements. Supervisors, on the other hand, they have a few more requirements. It's their duty to go through and ensure we have all the correct paperwork in place, the correct licenses, making sure there is that PPE provided, the stocks are there, and just general oversee of the whole system. And then upper management, which under the health and safety kind of spectrum, they're considered a PCBU, which stands for person conducting business or undertaking, which is a big term that you probably don't need to remember, but that just means that they're ultimately responsible for your safety. So they're the ones ensuring that we have the correct policies, that we are doing the trainings. So when any inspector, work health and safety inspector, comes along to the company, the PCBU can be assured that we're doing the right things. So that's just a little kind of overview glance of it all. So there's multiple penalties. So when we get inspectors in the workplace, there's multiple penalties we can receive if we're not doing things correctly. So the first one would be an improvement notice, can be issued by a inspector. So this is basically a notice that's issued and you have a certain amount of time to rectify the issue that's presented. So typically this is like a low risk issue that wouldn't have an immediate impact to harm somebody. So they just go, in 30 days you need to put this guarding in place by this section. So, and then they'll usually come back and check that, or you provide photo evidence or something of that. The second one is quite a major one that can be produced by the inspectors. So that's a prohibition notice. So that's what you don't want. That's a stop work, something's immediately causing concern, whether that's concern to an injury or a possible death. So those are quite big ones, and those are the big no-nos. But we also have provisional improvement notices, and that's so like any trained health and safety representative like myself, we can issue notices where we see something wrong in the workplace, and we present that notice to the PCBU and just have a chat. The PCBUs who we talked about earlier, so like your upper business owner management people, and it's a similar thing. They have a certain amount of time to address the issue, otherwise they receive a fine essentially. So those are just three of the notices that we can be presented with as a company. What else will we go through? We will discuss a little bit about the inspectors. So work health and safety inspectors, they come onto site every now and then. These can be random visits, and they do have the legal authority to enter a workplace where safe to do so. So basically they'll turn up onto site, we'll let them in, we'll enable them to facilitate their inspections, whether that's unlocking certain areas, but in saying that, if there is an area that poses a risk to that person, that inspector or ourselves, we'll let them know and they'll note down why those reasons are there. But yeah, we'll walk around with them and they'll just inspect all our equipment and make sure that we're abiding by the Work Health and Safety Act. And they can also provide us feedback on, procedures, policies, paperwork. If we're doing something slightly wrong, they can just give us a nudge in the right direction. At the end of the day, they're there for our safety. So we want to support them in doing our job properly. So the other thing we've rolled out this week, which I spoke about with the supervisors in the last meeting, we've rolled out a new hazard reporting card. So I have a paper copy here just for everyone to pass around to have a look at. So essentially the reason for this was there was just a real poor reporting culture. So when I went out to the floor with the other health and safety representatives, we kind of identified it was pretty hard to report, and on chatting to some of you guys didn't know how to report, which at the end of the day is back on us, the health and safety team. So we've made some changes and we've come up with this report card. So these will be available from the start of this week, so they're already out on the floor, and basically just go through, you fill in a quick hazard report and then you hand it to your supervisor. In saying that, if the hazard is imminent and somebody could get injured straight away, let's control the hazard before we put one of these in place, and then we'll just report that. So sort the hazard out, minimise the hazard, whether that's barricading, whether that's fixing something, stopping something really quickly, and then we'll report it. Don't sacrifice safety to go and report it. But if you have any questions about that, you can come see me, but we'll go through it afterwards and we'll all fill one out just as a practice. There has not really, we went through and updated the work health and safety policy. So there's just a couple of extra words added onto a few lines. So I've printed that out for you guys. And we'll just run through that now. I'll just pull it up. So essentially, just run through the changes we've made. So if you go down to number 2, we've added that the policy applies to workers, supervisors, general managers and health and safety representatives. So essentially that means all personnel within the company. That's kind of covered everybody under there. Number 3, section 3, commitment to health and safety. The other commitment we've added in is aligning to its own health and safety policies to that of national work health and safety laws. So that's just saying we're abiding by the Act, the Work Health and Safety Act. Number 4, under 4.1, so PCBU, which we discussed earlier. Another one of their responsibilities is they will ensure the facilities for workers are adequate. So that's your bathrooms, that's your crib rooms, making sure you have access to water, running water, clean water, hand washing facilities, things like that. 4.2, workers' responsibilities. It's your responsibility to use the PPE provided by the company. So, if it says to use the PPE, let's make sure we're using it. Section number 6, so consultation and communication. So we'll coordinate with other PCBUs, which other companies, get their updates on health and safety, and just communicate between them. Engage in health and safety representatives in the workplace, so that's us. That's our commitment to, doing these monthly meetings with you guys. Provide opportunities for feedback within their work health and safety department, which this is what this is. So you guys are more than welcome to provide us feedback on these sessions, and then involve workers with the development of new control measures. So this is what we're doing today also. So like this new health and safety hazard reporting card, we're involving you guys in the development of this. So if you guys have any suggestions, if you want something changed within it, let us know and we can have a chat about it. Health and wellbeing, there's something new implemented at GTM, so we are encouraging the engagement of workers in their health and wellbeing. by providing wellbeing subsidies. So make sure you guys make the most of that. You can access it via the intranet. So that is the end of the policy update. And lastly, the next thing we'll be doing is we'll be creating a monthly newsletter. So I've printed out this ones so you guys can all have a look at it, but you'll find these on the crib room tables monthly. So just have a read. You know, there's information there that some of you may find interesting, some of you may not. So we'll just run through this one. So new at GTM this month, we've got the hazard reporting card, and then there's some questions around health and safety, what your roles are, what the roles of PCBUs, and then we have a spotlight for one person each month. So if you'd like to nominate someone, feel free. But have a read into that while you're sitting down having your lunch. So just on the newsletter, does anybody have any questions or comments or feedback regarding the newsletter?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Mason.
So is the newsletter something where we can add information from our own departments in? For example, notices of incidences or just news to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So the company newsletter is obviously the whole company newsletter, so we'd love to hear from other departments. Obviously I've just done this one to get it started, get the ball rolling, but yeah, in the future definitely, if you have successes in your area, if you have new procedures in your area, policies, anything that you think would be good for the newsletter, it's definitely, send it through to us and we can get it put in there. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yep, sure does.
Yeah, awesome, cool. So I think that's it on the newsletter. Does anybody have any other questions or queries regarding anything about the meeting? Anything not about the meeting that I can answer?
Nope, looks like you've cleared everything up for at least myself.
Okay, perfect. Well, in that case, we will wrap things up and we'll see you all again in a month back at the meeting.